some people lie. Some important people lie as well. Once you realize that Bitcoin is inevitable and you understand the things that we do, or you believe that what we think is going to happen is true. Once you realize it's inevitable, you understand that there's nothing else more important to work on. I feel like it's the most important thing that we could give our time to help other people to understand how to preserve their economic energy.
Welcome to the Bitcoin RX podcast. This is your host, Nurse Ralph. Today, I got with me Myles, Dhillon, who's going to help me give you a weekly dose of orange pills so you don't die from fiat disease. My man
Yeah,
Myles, how
buddy.
you doing, man?
Yeah, man. I've been looking forward to that intro for ages, man.
Yeah, I know, man. I tried it one time and I was like, "Ooh, it's pretty catchy." I was like, "I like it. I'm gonna keep that one."
Yeah, man. I'm into it.
Yeah,
Let's
man. Yo, before we start talking about Bitcoin, man, tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey before Bitcoin.
Well, I've actually got to break my journey into kind of two halves because I've got a sort of like so I bought Bitcoin super early in like
Yeah.
2012. I first bought my first coins.
Yeah.
But I've got to break into two halves because that's when I first bought Bitcoin, but I didn't understand it. And also at that time in my life, I was in my early 20s. I didn't earn any money either. So
Yeah.
I just had like enough money to live. I just got married. We both had jobs. We were having a great time, but we didn't really make any money. So that's my kind of life pre-Bitcoin. Actually, it should be just pre-understanding Bitcoin. So I had that whole time. I bought Bitcoin. It was hardly worth anything. I then got into like a whole load of shit coining for a while, right? And
Yep.
then
We all did.
I really, oh man, I wish I hadn't because I was in so early, I would have ended up with
Yeah.
so much more Bitcoin now than I do. But
Yeah.
so then my post understanding Bitcoin life, I would say, was after I came back from traveling. I started a business, and that was in property developing and gas and central heating. So I saw two companies running side by side. And
Okay.
that's when I started understanding Bitcoin, because then I started actually, when I got to the age of 29 or 30, I started earning some like actual money, like enough to live on, enough to go on holiday. We went on our
Yeah.
first holiday and we were like, okay, cool. Like we actually made some money this year. And then
Yeah.
I started thinking like, I need to do something with this money. I want to plow as much as I can into investments. And I was into sort of stocks and, trying to buy things in an IPO and just play gambling games. But I had Bitcoin all this time, and Bitcoin had gone up and down a bit, and I'd sold a bit and bought a bit and then shitcoined a bit. But it was only really, when did I start understanding Bitcoin? Like 2018, probably 2019 was when I really started learning about Bitcoin. Because I think a lot of people have that as well, like pre-COVID.
Oh yeah.
And
Oh yeah.
COVID is when everybody started making podcasts, and then suddenly there was some content available to understand.
Yeah. Yep. No, I agree. I feel like it was the same thing for me. When I first bought when I first bought Bitcoin, I had no idea what I was buying. I was just like, you know what? Somebody mentioned, oh, just have 2 to 5% of your portfolio into Bitcoin, and that's what I did. I never understood it, and it wasn't until like 4 years, 3 to 4 years later, that I actually like started looking into it. And then I
Yeah.
was like, oh wow, this thing is actually special. This is not just like some gambling coin. So I
Yeah.
feel like everybody's got that little
Yeah.
you called it like the pre Bitcoin understanding.
Yeah.
That journey. I feel like
Yeah.
everybody has one of those. I don't think maybe the OGs, maybe the OGs are like they bought Bitcoin because they understood what it actually stood
Yes.
for. But I feel like a lot of the
Yes.
new people buying Bitcoin now, they just buy it just
Yeah.
because, they don't really know like everything that we both know about, like,
Yeah.
sovereignty and freedom money and all of that. They don't care about that. They just want to make some money. They don't
No,
they
man.
don't
Like,
understand it.
funny story is actually the guy who I found out about Bitcoin from, his
Hmm.
name was Sonny Ray. And actually, when I
Hmm.
say his name now, it makes me
Yeah.
think, I don't even know if that was his real name or whether he just didn't want to dox himself.
Yeah.
Sonny
Yeah.
Ray, like Sun Ray. Like, I swear
So,
he just made up this name and just told
yeah.
me he understood Bitcoin in 2011, like for sure, because he
Oh
was
wow.
explaining it to me like we
Uh-huh.
talk about it now. And he was like
Yeah.
the tech bro.
Yeah.
But what I think is so BS is when some of my no coin friends say to me, "Oh, if I found out about Bitcoin like you did when it was under $100, I would have bought loads. I would have bought loads." I'm thinking, no, you wouldn't. You wouldn't,
Nah,
because we didn't understand it. I just bought
no.
a couple of coins and thought, that's the end of that money. Like, see
Yeah,
where that goes. It was just a
yeah,
gamble.
yeah. Oh yeah.
The only
No,
people
but
buying
nobody.
big were the ones who properly understood it back then, who were like involved in the code and they realized what it was.
100% agree. I mean, it took me 4 years. I mean, yeah. No, there's because there's
Yeah.
so much to it too. I mean, even now, there's still so much I don't know. There's still so much I don't understand. Like it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it's crazy. Like the rabbit hole just goes so deep. You
Yeah.
can never stop learning about it. Honestly, so
I've got
no,
like a
100%
list
agree.
on my phone. I've got like a Apple Note on my phone where every time
Yeah.
someone says something about Bitcoin, I make a note, find out what
Yep.
this means. And I just got this
Yeah.
list of stuff that every now and then I just spend some time on YouTube just going into it because there's so
Oh
much
yeah.
to learn.
Oh yeah. Same here. Same here. Same here. Like it's like I don't know if I'll ever finish that, honestly. So yeah. No. We'll see about that. And I wanted to talk to you about your businesses. Actually, you mentioned
Mm.
um a real estate and then a gas business. Was it like the
Yeah.
second one? What was that
Yeah.
about actually?
So like in the UK, we call gas like the how you heat your home. So they have like a
Yep.
boiler on the wall. I think in the US, it's a lot of air heaters, right?
I
I don't
see.
know
I
if
see.
you have
Yep.
these things. But so
Yeah.
gas and central heating and hot water is mostly done with a gas engineer and a plumber. So it's someone who's a plumber who's then trained more to work with gas and water. But basically, I came back from India. I had
Mm.
no income. Like I didn't have a job or anything. I used to be a musician. I shut the door to all that and then came
Yep.
back. I had a wife. My wife was expecting a baby. And I was meeting up with
Mhm.
some of my school friends who had been working in jobs for like 5, 6 years while we were in India. And they built up a savings pot of like £10,000, £20,000, like something like this. But none of them were able to buy houses or apartments because they were like, I'm so far away. So I had this idea. I was like, you guys give me your money. I'll buy a flat. I'll renovate it and sell it. And
Yeah.
then we'll all be rich,
Yeah.
right? Because that's what rich people do, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they all were like, yeah, okay, cool. So they gave me their money, and my parents gave me some money as well to like top it up. And I did that quite a few times, like pretty successfully. And I thought I was like stinking rich, making sort of not very much money, but I thought I was a big boy property developer doing
Yeah.
apartments, flipping them. But then it came to, I can't remember, something happened in the UK. We had this Brexit vote and the economy
Mhm.
kind of just stalled for a bit. People didn't want to buy houses. They wanted to see what would happen. And I got stuck with this house that I converted into 3 flats, and I
Mhm.
was bleeding money and I didn't have any
Oh.
income.
Yeah.
All my income came at the end of end of the sale of the property. And a friend
Yep.
of mine said to me, you need to do something to give income while you do these things that create, potentially can create more money. So that's when I realized the guys who charged me the most on the building site were the electricians and the gas engineers. So I already knew a bit of plumbing, so I trained as a gas engineer, and then that is actually what caused me to be able to create like income every year, and then be able to do the
Yeah.
property thing a little bit on the side. But
Wow.
man, I actually feel like I don't know whether nurses and people who work in the medical profession, I
Yeah.
can I can relate because there's a ceiling to how much you can earn as a gas engineer. And once you get to the top rate
Yeah.
of charging, you
Yeah.
can't really charge anymore. And if you try and put your
Yeah.
prices up, your customers will complain and go somewhere else.
Right.
So
Right. That's fair.
it's been a great business for me. I've been so blessed by it. I actually sold that plumbing business in December, not for
No.
very much, not for like a Silicon Valley exit, but enough to
Right.
like give me some breathing space to decide what to do next. But
Right.
man, it was hard work,
Oh, I
stressful,
bet.
grinding, hard work, man.
Oof.
Like for the last
Yeah.
9 years, just going
No,
for it.
that's a hustle. But no, man, that's impressive, honestly, to like go into a business like this. I mean, did you know anybody else that did it before you, or did you just like
I
in your
mean,
family or any friends, or did you just
not really. I mean, my uncle was a
yeah,
painter, and
yeah,
I
yep,
did
yep,
when I came back from India. I did some painting and decorating for him just because I
yeah,
needed to earn some money. But
yep,
that
yep,
sucked. That was
yeah,
hard work and very
yeah,
low pay. And I
yeah,
think it was him actually, a combination of him and this other friend who said, "Do you know who charges the most? It's these gas engineers. They charge loads of money, mate. You'll be rich."
yeah,
And I
yep,
thought, all right. I mean, I'd rather go and do a hard day's work and get paid properly than do painting because I guess it's like the less people can enter the industry, the more protected it is. So the more
yeah,
qualified you need to be. If it's a bit more dangerous, then you can charge more and then the salaries go up, right? So I just figured that and
Yeah.
thought, all right, I'll just figure this out. And it was super flexible when we had our children. You know, I could come home and do stuff if it needed to happen, and then go out
Right.
and do
Right.
some
That's
more
fair.
jobs in the evening and stuff like that.
Yeah. No, that's good, man. Yeah, sounds like a tough job, but you know what? That's good that you took matter into your own hands and try to do your own thing, man. That's good. That's good. And
Yeah,
what
thanks,
did
man.
you used to play actually as a musician?
Well, I used to do some production and sound
Oh,
engineering,
okay.
right?
Oh,
And then
nice.
through that, did some songwriting. I mean, I can play like a couple of things very badly, but
Yeah.
like very badly. And it's you think you're good, you think you're
Yeah.
good, and then you get into that musician world and you realize that you suck.
Yeah.
So like I thought I was good before I moved to London. Then I moved to London
Yeah.
when I was like 19, and I met these guys who were session musicians playing for like pop stars and stuff. And I was like, oh,
Right.
I need to change tack here like a little
Yeah.
bit. So I then started doing more like recording and sound engineering, where you can hide the fact that you're a bad musician in production and making beats on the computer.
Yeah. That's hilarious. That's hilarious, man. You've had quite a journey, man. That's I love it. I love it. You've done quite a few stuff. That's
Yeah, but
impressive, man.
the consistent thing since the age of 24 or something like that has
Uh-huh.
been Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And um, when I look back at my life, I
Mhm.
think, gosh, I wish I'd just given Bitcoin more attention.
And what was it that sparked your curiosity into learning more about Bitcoin? Like, was there a specific like person, something that kind of like made you really like dive more into it after like
Hmm.
your I guess, pre Bitcoin understanding phase?
Yeah. I mean, I think it was, apart from this guy, Sunny Ray, that I met in
Hmm.
India, he
Yeah.
sparked that initial curiosity. And then I went home and just went deep into reading, or more, I don't go deep into Bitcoin. I just spent
Mhm.
about a week trying to figure out how to buy it because it wasn't
Ah.
easy back then.
Yep. Yep.
And I was
Yep.
trying to send money to Estonia or some bank account in Estonia or the Czech Republic, and my bank were
Mhm.
blocking it. So that wasn't really understanding Bitcoin. That was just like, how do I buy this thing? It's so hard. And
Right.
what really sparked my curiosity, I think, was after having a business for a while and earning like normal sort of income for a bit, and then thinking I want to invest in these different things and reading all these investment books, I I, I understood quite quickly I'm not going to be able to beat these professional money managers. It's their
Mhm.
full-time job to trade stocks and invest in different businesses and startups and stuff. And then you hear about VCs and they're investing in
Right.
these businesses before you've even heard about them. And you think, I can't do that. And also,
Yeah.
I'm trying to do it in my evenings when I'm tired. I've got a baby on my shoulder. And
Yep.
like the weekends, I don't want to like be reading about stock market stuff and looking. And I thought this is not fair. Like it
Yeah.
shouldn't. I'm working my ass off here, and I'm giving real benefit and giving value to people in my area. Like when their heating's not working, it's freezing cold. I'm delivering value to them. I don't think
Yep.
that I should be a sort of part-time amateur stock investor on the side. I should just be able to like
Right.
earn money and be happy, right?
Yep. Yep.
And
That
so
that that's true.
I could see some stuff that I put some
Yeah.
money in. I had like US index fund and like I don't know, a couple of like oil stocks and I don't know. I just put them in
Yeah.
random stuff. I didn't know what I was doing. And they were
Yeah.
going up like 10% or something since I bought them. I couldn't even remember when I bought them. In the
Yeah.
green like 15%, 20%. I was like, oh, this is okay. But it's not a
Yeah.
big increase on what I put in. But then I every now and then would look at my Coinbase wallet, which is where I used to keep my Bitcoin, and I'd look and think, what the hell? This is going up
Mhm.
loads. And I
Mhm.
think that is what then causes you to think, oh,
Yeah.
maybe I should spend more time on this because that's outperforming everything else that all these professional investors are doing. I'm crushing
Right.
them.
Right. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. And you're not wrong about this too. It's like it was the same thing for me too. As a nurse, it's like if you really want to keep up with inflation, you have to basically become a part time, either a part time trader or a part time investor. It's not
Yeah.
it's like you have to learn about these things if you want to survive. And that
Yeah.
was me at the beginning when I first started. I was just watching videos, learning how to which stock is going to perform the best, all of that. And then now I'm like, thank God I found Bitcoin, but because you're right,
Oh,
it was exhausting. Just
yeah.
learning about like PE ratio, all of that, cash flow.
Oh,
It was just like there's just too much information out there. I'm like, man, I don't want to do all that. Like it's
yeah.
a lot of work, man. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I,
that's
I
fair.
nearly I nearly did a course of how to day trade stocks. and I was going to
Yep.
take like 4 weeks off work and pay like £10,000 or something for this course, and I thought this is a good investment. Like this is definitely what
Yeah.
I should do. I was going to take 4 weeks
Yeah.
off work and go to some place every day, far away from my house,
Yeah.
to learn from some guy who was going to. He seemed legit, like he's a good
Yep.
salesman, and he obviously had made a
Yeah.
lot of money from trading. I was like,
Yep.
I'm so
Yeah.
glad I didn't do that. I'm so glad. I think it must have been COVID or something that hit, and then I didn't do it, and then that
Yeah.
10 grand just went into Bitcoin, which has been much better than doing that course.
Right. Yeah. I went through the same phase. So actually, I think I paid like, I feel like I probably spent like at least 2 grand on courses, like learning how
Mm,
to like day trade and swing trade. I mean, honestly, it, it paid off because like
mm,
I mean, maybe because I was benefiting from the bull market. I mean, from I
yeah,
mean, obviously, it's just if you're in the right time, like things gonna work out. So I don't know if I was now that I think about it, I don't know if I was smart or if it was just the right time, to be honest. But
yeah,
hey, you know what? That investment into the course paid off, to be honest. And
yeah,
I still it it's funny because I feel like sometimes I still use like just understanding basic stuff, like understanding the RSI, understanding typical trader stuff helps
yeah. And
sometimes.
some
Like if you
chart
really want to
analysis as
buy,
well.
yeah, exactly. So like
Yeah,
I don't know, I still have those in the back of my brain, but like now that I'm like all into Bitcoin, like I don't care about that thing no more. I'm
yeah,
constantly buying daily, weekly, so I don't really like look at the chart as much. It's so much
yeah,
like less. It's it,
bro.
there's no stress anymore. Like I'm
Yeah,
just like, oh, I can actually now save my money and know that I'll be okay.
yeah,
It's
bro. Like every
crazy.
time like, my brother-in-law used to work in a hedge fund. He actually doesn't anymore. And now he works for a charity. Every time I see
Yeah,
him, I'd be like, "What's your hedge fund buying, bro? Like, what's your hedge fund?" You know,
yeah,
he works all the time. What stock are you buying? I swear, I'd just be like wasting the weekends. I mean, it's kind of fun
yep,
talking about it, but
yeah.
it just
It
feels
it
so much more chill just to do your job, like specialize in what you do, and then
exactly.
stack Bitcoin, man. Like I
Yeah,
swear, I've
damn,
tried to
that's
tell so
true.
many
That's
people
true.
that.
Yeah, that's true. That's the thing though. It so in a way, like it does make you worse at. Well, okay, I don't want to say worse at your job, but like for if a nurse is spending half of his time learning how to keep his money, that's half of his time is not like that nurse is not spending how to become a better nurse. You know what I'm saying? It takes
Hmm.
you away from like your job. It actually makes you, I don't want to say a worse nurse, but like I could be better at my job, but unfortunately I have to learn how to keep my capital. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
like it affects the job as well. So there's so much
yeah,
more about like
yeah,
how Bitcoin actually helps you become a better like I guess how Bitcoin helps you provide value to the
yeah.
to the world, because then you can actually relax and focus on doing what you're best at and not have to worry
Yes.
about inflation. So it
No, but
just it solves so many problems. Oh yeah, go ahead.
like on the other side, I used to be,
Hmm.
every Monday you go into the plumber's merchant. It's like the sort of tradesman's store where you pick up your supplies for the week, and all the guys are there like talking about football and stuff. And
Yeah.
you get to know all those guys really well. On the other side of what you're saying is there
Hmm.
would be guys there who would be obsessed with gas engineering and the
Hmm.
latest boilers and the gas stuff that's going on, the latest materials. And I'd just be like, I just don't care about that enough.
Yeah.
I'm not. I don't want to be doing this till I'm 70 years old, like breaking my back doing this heavy lifting work. But those guys were obsessed with it, and I used to be thinking, I need to learn about money more, like because it would
Yeah.
make me go the other direction. Think I know enough about gas to get this job done, but
Yeah.
you guys, you need to think about money more.
Right.
So it would make me feel different things at different times, man.
Yeah. You almost feel like you can't really relate to the people that you're working with, and I feel the same way in nursing as well. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, but like, do you know about inflation, by the way? Like, I know
Yes,
this
yeah,
is going on, but like,
yeah. Yeah, like guys
yeah,
would
no,
say, "Oh, the cost of copper's gone up a lot, mate." I'd be like, "Oh,
yeah,
well, that's because there's more money in the system since COVID." And they'd be like,
yeah,
"What? Nah." They all those guys think that it's greedy
yeah,
capitalists, like the companies
right,
selling the
right,
copper are just ripping
right,
us off. That's what they think. And I'm
yeah,
like, "No,
yep,
it's not. It's not
yeah,
what's
yeah,
happening."
man, no, I know, no, 100% agree with you, man. Yeah. I wanted to ask you also, if you had like, let's say you had like less than 5 minutes to to talk to a group of nurses about why they should maybe try to like save into Bitcoin. What would you tell them? Why is Bitcoin special?
Well, it's kind of like what we've talked about so far, isn't it? But
Yeah, yeah,
when you're in these jobs which are not the lowest paid jobs, they're kind of like moving up the professional ladder a bit. Obviously, we're not kind of like brain surgeons or bankers or lawyers, but we're like somewhere in the middle between that. If you're a professional, I would say that we've been sold this lie that if you work hard, get qualified, move into a job, work really hard, it's like a pie eating competition. You if you get in there and you eat load of pies and you crush at eating pies, then eventually you'll get to a place on the ladder where you get freedom and you get more money and you're really happy. But actually, what you find out is the more pies you eat, if you eventually win that pie eating competition in nursing, the reward is more pie, and you're like, oh god, I've just been
yeah,
eating pie for 10 years.
yeah.
But it's sad because I think what I would say to nurses is I imagine that most people get into like those care industries like doctors, nurses, and in medical professions to help people because they have, whatever their character type is, like the Myers-Briggs thing. They're probably on that caring side more. And you get into it and you love caring for people, you're really making a difference to people's lives, but you realize that you can't live on that entry level salary for very long, where you're having hands-on connection with people and caring for people who are sick, right? So you
Right.
move up the rungs, and if you're good, you get promoted to become a manager, I guess. And then after a while, you get promoted again, and then eventually, you're not doing any nursing; you're just managing people in an office.
Yeah.
And like, what? Then you just be miserable, man, because eventually you realize I'm making more money, but I'm actually not doing the thing that I like doing or why I got into this in the first place.
Right.
I'm just kind of pushing paper around and managing schedules and stuff like that. I don't know, like if that's your experience with it, but
No, yeah,
it's
no,
the
that's
same.
that's
It's the
fair.
same in plumbing. Like if you start as a plumber, it's all good. You're making good money, but if you want to really grow, you have to like start taking on other guys to work for you and take on bigger contracts. And eventually, you're just in an office managing 10 other plumbers. And
Mhm.
I like working with my hands. So if you're not working with your hands, it's kind of a bit depressing after a while. But I
Yeah.
don't know if that's the same in nursing. Tell me.
Oh no, yeah, no, no. To me, it was the same thing because I wanted to. I was thinking about going back to school and become either a nurse practitioner or a nurse anesthetist and all that. And I was thinking about it. I was like, okay, like yeah, I'm gonna make more money, but then like how like okay, I'm making more money, but I don't know how do I preserve that money. So like if let's say I go to let's say I become a nurse anesthetist and school is like $30,000 a year or whatever, maybe forty thousand
Mhm.
dollars a year, right? And I go into more student loan debt, and now I'm making $100,000 more than I was making. I still
Yeah.
have to pay student loan debts, but I still don't know anything about money. I still don't know anything about like how what money is or anything. So I think that's why I shifted more towards like understanding Bitcoin because I was like,
Yeah.
what's the point of doing all? I mean, maybe I can still do that later on in life if I still I mean, right now I don't have any passion for going back to school right now. That's
Mhm.
not in my brain because I think Bitcoin kind of stole that in a way because I found I don't know, like just learning about money.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just I don't know. It feels like I'm just going to school now would feel like I'm going backwards for some reason. Like
Yeah.
it's kind of hard to explain. Like I don't know if it. I don't know. I don't know. It's just I don't think I would. I could go back to school and become a nurse practitioner now that I know everything that I know.
Yeah.
It's just like you said. You just be like moving up the ladder, and then you just cap. Like like it's like
Yeah.
the other thing too is like with nurses, like at some point your raises are capped. Like inflation's going like what money is being debased like 7% per year on the past 100 years in America, and you're
Yeah.
getting a 2% raise every year. You can't even keep up with inflation. So
Yeah.
and at some point your raises are gonna get capped. Like that makes no sense. Like
Yes.
will it what? Like I mean I don't know if that
Yeah.
will change. I have no idea, but like there I've heard some nurses they once they get to a certain age they literally don't get any more raises, and that's kind of messed up. You know,
Yeah.
that's that's really fucked up. That's really fucked
Yeah.
up. because
I don't know if
you
you
know,
you ever tracked, like in the UK, so our healthcare system is all free, basically, right?
yeah,
So the nurses and
damn,
doctors are all paid by the government. Okay. But it's not
oh,
good. It's not like a very good healthcare service. If you're about to die,
oh,
it's pretty good.
yep,
But if you right. But if you've got like
Jesus,
if you if you've got a problem, like they work fast. Like if there's a big problem, you go
okay,
into an emergency room, they're good. Like it
yeah,
all works
yeah,
pretty well.
yeah,
Apparently, better than. But if you've got an illness that needs an operation in, like, you've got to wait for like ages, months and months and months, right? But these
ooh,
doctors are overworked. They don't get paid enough, and there's
yeah,
every year they're always like going on strike to get paid more because they want to get like a 3% rise or 5% rise, and it's the
yeah,
government, yeah, who are paying them. And so now understanding Bitcoin, when the government are debasing money at like 5, 6, 7% a year, and the doctors and nurses are asking for a 5% pay rise, I'm like, the government know that their
yeah,
money is going down in value, but they still won't give these guys a pay rise in line with
right,
inflation. I'm like, what is going on here?
dude,
Just pay the guys, man. They're trying to say.
yeah, man,
Then that, but the thing is, those politicians, they don't go to these hospitals, man. They go to the private hospitals, so it doesn't affect them. I'm like,
yeah,
man,
they don't,
if I get into one of these
yeah.
hospitals, I will give you a pay rise straight away. If I
Right,
need
right,
help.
right. Yeah, it's hard work, man. You out here, like sometimes, man, the things that some of these healthcares. I mean, even including myself, some of the things we do, like
Oh,
people don't know it. People have no idea the shit that we have to deal with, and like
yeah,
for 2% raise, I'm like, yo,
yeah,
y'all don't get it. Dude. They begging for a 2% raise should not. I don't know, man.
yeah,
It just almost feels like it's not worth it. I mean, I love nursing because like I do, like you said before, it's like I do love helping people, and I think that's kind of why I do these podcasts as well, and I have
yeah,
a YouTube channel because I want to help people in a different way, not just nursing, but also with like helping you understand money and understand how to save the value of your hard work. So I think that's why I'm doing this too, because it's like the nurse
yeah,
in me that wants to help out still. So
yeah,
it's like, man, fighting for a 2% raise and having the government, or some institutions say, oh, no, no, it's not. It's like, really,
yeah,
like, oh man, that is just, yeah, it hurts, man. It hurts.
yeah,
But yeah, no, I could go on about this one for a while because we have
yeah,
like the union over. We have so much BS going on. Like sometimes I'm just looking at it. I'm like, yo, y'all, if y'all understood what inflation actually meant, and
mm,
like, yeah, like y'all would be, everybody would be outside protesting right now. Like I don't think
mm,
nobody knows, nobody understands it. So
yeah.
yeah, nah, it is
I
what it
agree
is.
with you, man.
Yeah, and I wanted to ask you about your podcast actually. What was your inspiration for your podcast that you've had?
Well, I think once you realize that Bitcoin is inevitable and
Yeah,
you understand the things that we do, or you believe that what we think is going to happen is true. Once you realize it's inevitable, you understand that there's nothing else more important to work on. I feel like it's the most important thing that we could give our time to help other people to understand how to preserve their economic energy is so important. And really, Ralph, actually, it is someone on your podcast. It may have been Robin Sayer actually when he was on. You
mhm.
guys were talking about the Titanic and the boat. Was it Robin?
Titanic,
Yeah,
Titanic in a boat.
yeah. And
I
let me tell you.
believe, yes.
So I think it was like, once if you're on the Titanic and you can see it sinking, you
Hmm.
don't just like jump into the lifeboat and run away from all your family and your friends.
Right,
But I,
right,
I
right.
get that analogy is good. You say to everyone, "There's an iceberg coming. It's going to sink. Come on, like let's get on the lifeboat now. Like, let's get as many people in there as possible because it's not going down right now. It's just like
Yeah,
slowly going down. Who knows
yep,
when the dollar will collapse? It could be 5 years, could be 30 more years. Like it could last a long time.
yep.
Like the pound used to be the global financial, like the global monetary system used to be the pound, but that's still
Right.
going like now. So it might not
Yeah,
but it's just not the dominant one. So if we're on this boat, I know for sure that I've got a seat on the lifeboat. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not going down with the
yeah,
ship. My family are in
yeah.
there.
Oh,
I'm
I'm
taking the
out.
kids with
Yeah,
it. Yeah. I'm not going to like
yeah,
let everybody get on the boat instead of me. But
yeah,
I still want to tell other people, okay, guys, we used to be crazy tech bro conspiracy theorists like 12 years ago, but now we're emerging as, you don't want to be like, oh, we were right, but it's looking more and more acceptable, more and more sense. Bitcoin's not going away. Maybe it's time to learn about it. And I swear, I find it so hard to just talk to my friends and tell them about it. It's almost like, when you're trying to evangelize someone into Christianity, it's kind of hard when you start slamming people with the Bible. It's very similar with Bitcoin. Like you can't just start hitting people with it because they don't want to know, because they're like, oh no, I'm working, it's all good, I'm working, I just bought a house, everything's going fine. Like, okay, cool. So I feel like the podcast just allows me an avenue to tell other people about Bitcoin, and it's easy to send to my friends as well, to be like, hey bro, this is a great episode, you should listen to this. Like in some ways, when I send one episode to a friend and they say, oh, I listened to it, I'm like, oh, it's so good you actually listened to it.
Yeah. Even the people you think that need Bitcoin the most, if they don't have like a need to know, if they don't feel the pain, if they're not curious enough, it's like you really cannot force anybody to get into it. They have to come to Bitcoin on their own terms. Like, it's just, they have to have that need to know. All you can do is lead them to the water, but you cannot force them to drink. It's just, all you can do is do the best that you can do, put the best information out there, and just, I guess just let it happen. Because it's the same thing for me. Sometimes I talk to my friends about it. I have a friend that I've been telling for, Jesus, almost 2 years now, and he still hasn't bought bigger. God, like, come on, man. Like, yo, like, I know you in pain, bro. Come on, just But it's just some of these things you can't. It is what it is, man. No, sheesh. But
I mean, the other thing about doing the podcast is, because I've been in Bitcoin for ages, right? I was a total pleb in Bitcoin for most of my life. I didn't meet a single other Bitcoiner for like 8 years or something. And then I met this one guy at my church, and he's into Bitcoin. And I was like, whoa, like someone else into Bitcoin. And we understood the same. I was like, oh man, I've been here for years, just like selling it at the wrong time and buying it for too much. And then I sold some, and he's like, no, don't sell Bitcoin, just hold it. I'm like, I know that's what people say, but I didn't know if people just say that on the internet or if people say that in real life. He's like, no. So then actually, slowly, I started meeting a few Bitcoiners, but it's still hard to meet people. And actually, for me, starting the podcast has just blown up my whole world of connecting with people. Like, even this conversation, man, like, I love it. I love talking to other Bitcoiners. And so even if I just do the podcast for the next 10 years, until Bitcoin's at $10 million, and then I'll be like, do you know what? I gave you guys enough chance to buy Bitcoin. I'm out. See ya. At least I'll have met other people. I'll have talked to other people and had a good time with people who I like get on with and connect with.
Yeah, no, I agree. This is exactly how I feel. Because like it's the same thing around me. I mean, there are not that many Bitcoiners at all. Like, it's just like, so it's like nice to, like, now that I started the YouTube channel, it's the same thing too. Like, I got to know a lot of different people. Like, actually connect, and it kind of helps build your conviction as well. Just to be like, okay, like, I'm not the only one who feels this way. Like, it's actually nice to know that, okay, there are other people all over the world, actually, not just, like, it's like all over the world, I feel the same pain, the same everything that you're feeling, and they understand the problem. It's kind of like, okay, I know I'm right, I just need to relax, I just need to keep stacking, I'll be all right. So it's, I do love that, man. I do love that. And I wanted to ask you about, I saw one of your episode about your kids explaining, talking about Bitcoin mining and all that. That was that was a great episode, man.
Oh man,
You like raising little Bitcoiners.
What's bad is that's my like most played episode so far, and it only came out like 2 weeks ago or something.
I love it.
So
I love it, man.
Everyone loves the kid ones, and they're not that into me.
Yeah. When it's you, they don't care. That is funny, man. That is funny. How about the rest of your family? I know your friends are struggling to get it. Any other family members? Are your family members starting to get it a little bit, or no?
Yeah, I mean, my parents, I got them in at like $20,000, and they've held it all the way through, and they can't believe it. They're in their late 60s now, And
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that it's the best investment they've ever made.
Yep.
I think it would have outperformed. And they're kind of, my dad's Indian, so he's kind of into like buy to let properties. I don't know if that's like a really racist thing
Yeah.
to say, but in my community of Indians, most
Right.
Indian dads are into buy to let rental properties. Like, so
Oh
they've
yeah.
had some investments over the years, but
Right.
I'm pretty sure this has outperformed anything they've ever been in. So they're pretty switched on to Bitcoin, although they're not like understanding it like we do. They don't care about it in that way, but they just get that it's the apex investment. Who else?
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
not like tons. So I've got two brother-in-laws married to my sisters.
Mhm.
One of my brother-in-laws only recently got into Bitcoin, and I'm
Right.
actually having both of them on my podcast in
Oh,
September
nice.
to have a
Nice.
discussion with them to kind of persuade them you must buy more
Yeah.
Bitcoin. Like, you got to get it. So that's kind of my
Yeah.
way of orange pilling them into it more. But
Yeah.
they're not like tons of my family, but especially on my wife's side, like none of them are into Bitcoin. So I kind of
Ah.
need to get them into it, because I don't want to be the one that like saves everybody one day and have to like give sats to people when they're hungry or whatever.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, no, I agree. I know it's kind of it's always better like when you if you can find a way to get your entire family on the boat, so that
Mm,
nobody gets left behind. It's always better because eventually you like you said you will be the one helping out. Like it's just like it's always
yeah,
better if everybody can just do their part while they
yeah.
can. Honestly, yeah. So
Okay,
yeah,
this is good.
100% agree.
I'm going to work harder on that side of the family. I need to put some more work in
Yeah,
with them.
yeah. Oh yeah, no, I think I need to do the same. Like I do like even like I was thinking about like because I'm from Haiti originally and I was thinking about
Yeah,
like making a a video in Creole because I was like yo I wanna start like doing that so that like that side of my family can understand it better because I mean some of them do understand English but like I want to do it in my main language so that
yeah.
it's
You
like the
should, man.
message is like clearer, so that it's
You
not like,
should.
oh yeah, and I don't want to wait until it's like a 10 million, 100 million, and then it's like, you should have told me about
Yeah,
this. Like, yo, I've been telling
yeah,
y'all. It's like, yo, so
yeah,
and I always ask my guests like well sometimes I ask them like the biggest misconception about about Bitcoin. I wanted to ask you what do you think are some of the biggest misconception about the dollar or like just fiat currencies
Oh,
in general because
yeah.
I think that's
Oh,
like crucial to understand first because if you
yeah,
don't understand that part then you won't really understand Bitcoin necessarily. So what do you have to say
yeah.
about that?
I would say that there's two things really. One is that your money is yours. I think that is highly misunderstood, um, and that became apparent to me when we lived in India. Maybe this helped me get into Bitcoin. That um, one day the government just told everybody in the whole country, billion people, that if you have 1,000 rupee note and a 500 rupee note, and it's older than like a couple of months, you have to bring it in to the banks, pay those notes in, and pay tax, and then we'll give you new ones if you want, or you can leave it in the bank. And India
Oh
is a very cash-based economy. Actually, I had a small business when we were there, and it was all cash. Like, not because I was trying to do anything dodgy, just because all my customers paid in cash. Like, everything was cash. So that was just the easiest way to do stuff. But there were big boy people out there who had a lot of cash sort of stashed under their beds, using it for big transactions. But the government caught everyone out who'd been hoarding cash and not paying tax. And they, queues outside the banks, people were bringing in their money and paying it in and having to pay their income tax, which is fine. You can understand the government are thinking, man, we've got a lot of illicit business going on here. We need to, not illicit, but just business not paying their taxes. So they called it in. They had their biggest tax year that year when that happened. But it made me
wow.
realize the money, even once you've earned it and it's in your pocket, it's not yours because they can call it in if they want to. So I think that's the first misconception about the money. But maybe in developing economies, that's more. Um, maybe that's more of a problem in developing places. I don't know. But in developed
Mhm.
economies, I think the biggest misconception about money is that it's not actually. You hear a lot of Bitcoiners saying the money is broken, fiat money is broken. It's not actually broken. It's actually working exactly as they plan for it to work.
Yeah.
They plan for it to their goal is that it will reduce in 2% every year, that inflation would be at 2%. And I can't believe that people aren't more outraged about that. Imagine if you had £100 in your bank, as a kid, in your kid's savings account, and
Yep.
every year they took £2 out of it or $2 out of it. You'd be livid. You'd be like, what?
Oh yeah.
You'd be like, oh, okay, I guess that's 1 year. But after 10
Yeah.
years, there's £20 gone. After 20 years, it would
It
be
adds
absolutely
up.
shocking. But the fact that they actually plan for that to happen, that's actually their goal, that it would lose 2% of its value every year, shows that they've somehow, I don't want to get too conspiracy vibes, and it's not even a conspiracy, it's a fact.
Yeah.
They want it
Yeah.
to debase by 2% every year. The fact that that's not outrageous to most people, I just can't understand. I mean, maybe I should understand because I thought that was normal, and now I
Yep.
realize it's not normal. That is one of the biggest misconceptions around money is the planned inflation, and
Yeah.
I can't believe it. And we know it's
Yeah.
more
No.
than 2% as well.
Oh yeah, way more than that. Yeah, for I agree. I
Yeah,
think I don't know if it's like the word inflation. I don't know if it's like the way that they trying to phrase things, or if it's like
yeah,
I don't know what is it about. Like that I don't know, man. Because I agree with you. Like if everybody who was it? Was it somebody said that if people understood how the monetary system how monetary system worked, there would be a revolution tomorrow, basically. That's probably not
right,
the right phrase, but like and I agree. Like once you understand it, you're like, what? Like
yeah,
this is actually it's madness. Like you
yeah,
they are literally stealing money from you every
yeah,
single year, and everybody thinks it's okay. Like everybody thinks it's okay.
yeah,
And meanwhile you cannot even keep up. Like your little raise cannot keep up with the amount of money that they're stealing from you every single year. It's
yeah,
Jesus, it's wild.
yeah.
It's actually wild. And
I'm actually
I
working on some episodes that are around kind of like Bitcoin and the Bible. A load of my
oh
friends are like in the
nice.
Christian community, and
Okay. Yep. Yep.
I'm a church guy as well. But
Yep.
the Christian people are like, no, 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 it sounds like conspiracy things. Like I don't want to get into Bitcoin. But
Yeah.
the most basic, everybody knows that thing in the Bible, which is you should not steal. Thou shalt not steal. I'm like, hang
Yes.
on, like even if you're not a Christian, stealing something from someone is bad. Like you don't
Yeah.
do stealing. Like you teach your kids not to steal stuff from other kids, like
Yeah.
or take something from a shop. But the government plan to take, I mean, let's not call it stealing. They're just taking a tiny bit of your money from your bank every year, but through a covert way. Like how is that ethical?
It's
If you're a
stealing.
moral person,
Yeah.
I don't get it,
Oh yeah.
man.
No,
So
I agree. No, I
that's something
agree.
I want to like blow up, to let
Yeah.
everybody know this is theft and it's not cool.
Yep. Yeah. No, 100%. And I agree with you. Like I was actually thinking about it too. Like I wanted to actually make some I guess like um a few videos about how because there are like so many passages in the Bible that talks about money, and
Yes.
I feel like nobody like it's like but like for some reason like Christians are always okay, I don't want to say every Christian, but like they are just afraid of talking about money. We it's like
Yeah.
money is bad. Money is the root of all evil. We don't talk about it. We just
Yeah.
do our things. Like no, like no, we need to talk about these things. Like this
Mm.
is important. This affects your everyday life. Like this is something that we need to talk about. You don't just brush off the problem and just like
Yeah.
just no. It's like we need to understand this thing. This is why we do
Yeah.
a podcast. We need to talk about
Yeah.
it. So uh, you know what? I'm looking forward to those videos because I was thinking about doing the same thing at some point because I do know a lot of religious people and
Yeah.
they read the Bible a lot, but for some reason I don't know why they don't make the connection between money and theft and all that. So
Yeah.
you know what? Yeah, please do put these videos out,
I think
man.
it's coming.
I love it.
It's just kind of like coming in me, and I'm gradually
Yep,
learning more, and then thinking
yep.
this doesn't make sense.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Anyway, man.
agreed, man. Agreed, man. And you mentioned you were talking about like how your businesses were using like you were using cash and all that, and talking
Mm.
about like because government thinks shady stuff happening. I wanted to ask you about like money laundering and how there's still some reason there's still people that think that Bitcoin is still used for by criminals for money laundering and all that. Can you like
Yeah.
explain to like the newbies out there why Bitcoin is actually terrible for criminal to use and why cash is actually even better for 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 money laundering actually.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, more crime happens with dollars, and HSBC proved it. Is HSBC a bank in the USA? I think they may
I
have a
don't
few
even.
branches, but
Let me
it's
see.
one of
I'm
the
not even
huge
sure.
banks. It's one of the huge banks in Europe and Hong Kong and in Asia and South America as well. But they proved it. More crime happens in dollars than Bitcoin. And they got fined $1.9 billion. No executives went to jail because
Yep.
the Department of Justice and the Treasury Department proved that executives at HSBC knew that money laundering was happening, particularly in relation to a Mexican and Colombian drug cartel. This drug cartel was laundering money through the banks in South America. They would literally bring in bags of cash into the bank, and the bank staff, I don't know whether it's because they were scared or because they didn't care, they just let the money go through without any checks. They laundered
Yep.
$881 million. So actually the fine they got was like pretty substantial. It was like more than double what had gone through in the laundering. But still, no one goes to jail.
Jesus.
The executives all knew about it for sure, but they decided this is quite a lot of business for us, so let it just come through, no problem. And I find that totally shocking. And actually, just to compare Bitcoin to the dollar, it's kind of hard actually to find stats for Bitcoin. So there's actually more to do with crypto overall. And
Yep.
there's $2 trillion of money laundered every year globally through the banks, and that's between 3 and 5% of GDP. So 3 and 5% of the money around the world is laundered, and it's illicit sort of money that shouldn't really be going through the banks. And Chainalysis, that company that do the analysis of the blockchain and looking into like how Bitcoin's moving around, they reckon that only $24 billion of all transactions in crypto, only $24 billion of the whole crypto market is illicit every year, and that's just 0.3%, which is way different to
Yeah.
nearly 5% of GDP. There's actually 83 times more in the dollar than there is in crypto, and that's crypto. That's not Bitcoin. Bitcoin
Right.
is probably
Right.
much smaller. And really,
Yeah.
if you want to do some crime and launder some money, you shouldn't do it with Bitcoin because you're going to get found out eventually. Because these companies like Chainalysis and Glassnode now work with anti-crime organizations to help them find the trail of illicit money. So if you want to do something illegal, you should do it in the dollar because that's the preferred method, which is completely anonymous, and you can just do it in paper and take it into a bank. And somewhere like HSBC will probably take your money because they need the business, they want the income. They're not going to drop their business by 3 to 5% every year. They want to keep that going.
Right. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's like they're trying to like put fear into people to so that you don't use Bitcoin, but in reality, it's like, dude, there's a lot worse happening with the dollar
Yeah,
or just with fiat in general than Bitcoin. It's like it's like, oh man, come on, like I'm sure there will be like other like misinformations that are gonna happen. Like, there's people saying, oh, you can't live in your Bitcoin, or you can't eat your Bitcoin. It's like, okay, like you can't live in your dollar. You can't eat your dollar. It's, it's
yeah,
it's it's money. Like, there's so many
yeah.
dumb things that people are saying now just to like create fear. I mean, I don't know if they're actually creating fear or if it's like just purely just like, I don't, like, you just don't care to know about it. I don't know. I don't know, but people are saying like a lot of dumb stuff honestly about it. And it's like, dude, like there are
Yeah,
books everywhere so you can learn about it. There's information everywhere on the internet. You can literally just sit down one day for like 4 hours and learn a lot about it. And I don't know, people just don't care to find the truth sometimes. So they- it is what it is, man.
no,
It is
man,
what it is.
no.
Yeah. I want to ask you about real estate actually, since your family is in the real estate, some of them, and also so is mine actually. A lot of my family members, they prefer real estate as a store of value. I
Oh
wanted to
yeah,
ask you about like what do you think about real estate as a store of value compared to Bitcoin actually?
man, it's kind of a big one because my when you talk about real estate, I think that is sort of a big business play where they're buying land and houses to store their wealth because they need to put it somewhere. Whereas I think for my family, it's. I mean, my parents have got like a couple of rental properties. It's not like a big business or anything, but it's more to do with income. Really, is what they do is they get these properties, they renovate them, and they rent them out, and it just creates income for them, so that it's
Mhm.
kind of a pension
Yep.
for my guys, and that's kind
Yep.
of the vibe around it. But
Yeah.
if in so me and my wife own our house, our apartment, and I'm always on the edge of selling it. Like actually, this whole year so far, I've been saying to my wife, because we're away from our home at the moment. We're traveling around Asia. We
Right.
rented it out, which is good because it's creating some income to help pay for this trip as well, which is great.
Right.
Because it's true, Bitcoin doesn't create income in that way. But and then everyone says don't sell your Bitcoin. So then you're like, oh, how am I going to make any money out
Mm.
of Bitcoin? So
Yep.
it's kind of a
Yep.
confusing model. So I'm not like anti real estate. It's definitely a business. It's definitely work because
Yep.
there are problems all the time. Tenants are really annoying. My tenants are all quite young, and they message you with stupid stuff like they get locked out late at night, and then they break stuff in the house. No one's breaking Bitcoin for you. No one's calling you in the middle of the night to say like there's a problem with the power or something like that. So
Yep.
I mean, I think real estate will always be there. I see those sort of Michael Saylor presentations around how real estate's going to get sucked up by Bitcoin. I'm always a bit
Mhm.
more skeptical because I'm thinking, I don't think my family are going to sell all their real estate and buy Bitcoin, although they should because they would be wealthier for sure. Like if we just
Yep.
carried on renting and we didn't buy our property, we just bought Bitcoin, we would be in a totally different financial position now to what we are in, which is great. Like we're in a good spot. It's not bad, but you know, it's so in the UK we don't see property as an investment all the time. It's like a place to live. So I think
Right.
I don't know. I'm not going to buy any more rental properties. I'm not trying to invest in any other rental properties for sure. Like anything I have goes into Bitcoin. I just can't see the value of that. But I think I might keep what we have because if we want to live in it one day, we've got somewhere to live. But
Yep.
if Bitcoin hits a big number, I'll probably just pay the mortgage off and then just keep it as like not a stressful investment because you have to keep it going
Right.
to keep the payments happening. So if I could sell off the mortgage and not worry about it, then I'd be like, cool, I just keep that, like forget it. As Bitcoin grows, it becomes a very small percentage of your sort of overall net worth. At the moment, it's a
Yep.
large part of our net worth, but I can tell in the future
Yeah.
it'll be smaller. But I don't think real estate's going to go away because I think people are always going to want to live somewhere. People need offices to work in, and people are always going to want
Yep.
to invest into that because it's historic. It feels safe. But I
Oh
do
yeah.
think that there will be a lot of people like us because you need a lot of money to get into real estate, but you don't need a lot to get into Bitcoin. So I think it could hoover up a lot of those people who, like my friends back in the day when they had like $10,000, $20,000, and that was their whole savings.
Yep.
Now, anyone who says to me, "Oh, I've got like £5,000, what should I do?" I'm like, buy Bitcoin. Like you can't really
Yep.
do much else. Do you want to spend your whole life in understanding the stock market? No, you can't buy a property, so just buy Bitcoin. Like so, I
Yeah.
think now my proposition to my friends would be totally different if we came back and we had nothing. I'd be like, guys, why don't we all just buy Bitcoin and then we can just be
Yep.
happy and then we can just carry on with our jobs. And then in 10
Right.
years time, we can just like be a bit more relaxed and do the things we love.
To me, like I do want to buy a house at some point, but I don't think I will buy the house for I don't not a rental property. I want a home so that I can live in, not to trying to deal with tenants and all that. Now that's I mean
Yeah.
just having a house to like live in by itself is already stressful because you have to
Mm.
deal with like it's honestly like the price goes up in dollars, but in reality, it almost feels like a depreciating asset because you
Mm.
constantly have to fix something. Like it's
Yeah.
only going up in dollar terms because they're printing way more money than they are building houses.
Yeah.
So 100% agree with you. Like it is a hustle. And as far as income, actually, that's interesting because um I've been looking. I mean, I don't know if that's something that you've been looking into. I've been looking into like you're right. Like we don't want to sell a Bitcoin, but then there are have you given any thoughts to like the the borrowing against your
The
Bitcoin? Not that
lending
I want
platform.
to do that, or like yeah, the lending things, or even like some of the income strategies that strategies actually offering like
Yeah.
MSTY, there's a strike, all of those things. Have you looked into those at all? I mean, not asking for
I mean,
financial advice, just wondering.
No, like every now and then I go on the like Ledin website or one of
Right.
those places and just see like if I gave them my stack, like how much could I borrow? Could I buy a house?
Right.
Because
Yeah.
I need to pay that back one day in dollars, right? So
Right.
I can't quite figure out how that works. Maybe
Right.
it's because the price of Bitcoin is not high enough yet. So the only way I can think is, yeah. So the house that the flat that me and my wife have, it's not like a forever home. It's kind of a large apartment, and it was great while we had
Yep.
small kids, but it doesn't have a garden or anything. It's not where we want to live as our children get into their teenage years. So I want to buy a proper house and just live in it. But
Yeah.
so I'm looking at it thinking, okay, if I sell that flat, I have some money, but it's in where I live. It's not. You need a lot of money to buy a decent house, right? So I look and thinking, how can I borrow that money against my Bitcoin stack? The only way I can think to do it at the moment is to borrow the money against Bitcoin for a year, buy the big house that we want to live in with enough space for all the kids, and then get a fiat loan against the house and then buy the Bitcoin back. Like that's the
Yeah.
only way that I can see to make it work right now, because I'd rather have a loan in fiat and just pay that
Mm-hmm.
off and
Yeah.
then get my Bitcoin back, or not have it in a place where it's in escrow and being lended against. So at the
Yeah.
moment, I don't quite see how it works unless when Bitcoin gets to like $1 million, and then we can just borrow against half a Bitcoin or something to buy a
Yep.
house. Then I can see, okay, like maybe this makes more sense. But
Right.
maybe at
Right.
that stage we'll just say, do you know what? I'm just going to sell half a Bitcoin, and then that will be enough to buy a house. When sort of 0.1 of a Bitcoin or 0.25 of a Bitcoin equals a decent family home, I think that will be the stage where I will be ready to sell some. Whereas
Yep.
until then, I'll just do everything I can to not sell it. Like we'll go back to the UK and rent a house, I think, for a while, rather
Yeah.
than, because I don't want to sell my stack yet because it'll be painful. I mean, maybe we
Yep.
could get like a bit of a house now if we've got a bit of a loan as well, but it's not
Mhm.
enough to buy like a proper house to live in forever. So it would just be painful if then in 5 years I could have bought whatever I want. And I
Right.
mean,
Yeah.
so
No.
yeah,
No, I agree. I agree. It's. I was thinking about it too, but like the other thing I was thinking too, like you said, I was more towards the idea of like maybe when a house is worth point 0.1 Bitcoin, maybe I'd feel
yeah,
comfortable, or I
yeah,
mean, eventually a home. I mean, because Bitcoin is a finite asset, eventually a home will be worth 0.01 Bitcoin. Because
yeah,
but we just don't know how long that's going to take, unfortunately. But
yeah,
like, but like, I don't know. You're right though. I selling, because it would be tough to like give away half a Bitcoin for a house, and then like 10 years later, you're like, man, So
bro. I've
yeah,
done it. I've done it. When we bought this apartment,
yep,
all my money was in buying it, right? So then when we were
right,
renovating it, it was a wreck. Um, I ran out of money, so I sold some Bitcoin to renovate the
yep,
house.
yep.
Yeah, like whole coins. Yeah,
Oof.
like back then, like 8 years ago. And thing is, it is painful now, but actually, I think that Bitcoiners need to get over that thing, because we lived in a lovely apartment for like seven
Right,
years and it was
right, right,
nicely
right.
decorated. We had nice bathrooms and our children got to live there. We had people come
Yep,
over and they're like, wow, your bathrooms are so nice. Like we
yeah,
enjoyed that. So
right, right, right.
that actually improved my life. So at that
Yes,
stage, selling that Bitcoin improved my life massively. Otherwise, I don't know what we would have done. We couldn't. It was like a student
right,
house before we bought it. So
yeah,
I think it's not all about money, and we just
yep,
need to think, how if I sell whole coins, if you've got loads of Bitcoins, if you sell loads of Bitcoin now at 100K and it's going to make a huge difference to your life, then you're not going to get that time back where you're young with your children and they get like to play in a big yard, and you don't have to worry about the area that you're living in. You live in a good neighborhood. Like I think
hmm,
that we just need to realize, like, Bitcoin is great, but what are we going to do? Keep handing it down to our children, and then our
yeah,
children's children, and then our great grandchildren are just like
right.
such sport billionaires that they just waste it
Ye-
all. You know?
Yep, yep, yeah. I agree. It's used. It is money and it's supposed to be spent. So I agree. I feel like if we were to sell Bitcoin to buy like Jordans, or like, I don't know, maybe like something that's not, that has no real use, maybe I would be totally against that. But like, if you
Yeah,
kind of right though, if you're buying a house like where your family is going to be there for like years, I think that's like, you can't really. Nah, you will feel the pain when you see the price
Yeah.
of the house continue to go down in Bitcoin terms, but at the same time, you got something. It's like
Yeah.
something of value for
Yeah.
for the Bitcoin. So I guess you're kind of right. You're kind of right. You kind of have to choose, what you want to. Yeah. No, yeah. No, I still have to make up my mind about that one because I do want
Yeah.
a home someday, but at the same time, it's like giving up some
Yeah.
Bitcoin is. I mean, I'm happy with my apartment. That's the thing. So I'm happy where I'm
Mm.
at. So that's why I'm like in no rush, really. But
Yeah.
that's something I'm gonna need to think about, sure. And I wanted to ask you. I know we're coming up to the hour, so I'm gonna speed the questions up a little bit more. I wanted to ask you about you. I believe you mentioned that you still had some gold. I wanted to ask you about
Uh,
Bitcoin versus gold. I don't know what's your opinion about that, and then I also wanted to ask you if what do you think Bitcoin? I mean, sorry, what do you think gold will be as a store of value in 2140? And the reason
Eventually.
why I asked 2140 is because, of course, by then
Yeah.
all the Bitcoin should be mined. So what do you think about? I know I'm asking
Yeah.
you to like kind of speculate a little bit, but we
No, that's
probably
cool.
won't be
Right.
around. So
I think someone told me a while ago that that gold will be, if it carries on at 3% compound annual growth rate between the last 100 years to the next 100 years to like nearly 2140. I think gold will be at sort of $235,000 an ounce or something if it
Mhm.
continues at the same rate that it has been, which it sounds huge, but that would be if it does roughly 3% a year for the next 100 and something years. But Bitcoin's going to massively outperform that. I'm not anti-gold. Like, we don't even know what Bitcoin's going to be at. I think Bitcoin's going to be at hundreds of thousands in the next couple of years. So it's going to totally outperform gold, that's for sure. I have to have a couple of gold coins because I got into that gold bug store of value hard money asset thing at the same time that I got into Bitcoin. So I when we came back and my wife was working, I think I just bought a few gold coins, and now they're worth way more. It's not much. It's nothing compared
Yeah.
to the increase in Bitcoin. But I'm not anti-gold. I feel like the Bitcoin community is like, we like Bitcoin and we understand gold, and gold bugs like, come, like, we love you,
Yeah.
But the
Yeah.
gold
Yeah.
bugs are like, we like gold and we hate you Bitcoiners, you're losers. So I don't understand why they hate us so much, because I don't really hate them. Even Peter Schiff at
Right.
the Bitcoin conference, he got some hate, but generally I was like, oh, cool, he's at the Bitcoin conference. That's pretty cool. That's nice.
Yeah.
But I'm not anti-gold. If it helps someone get into Bitcoin, I would say, like, someone was messaging me yesterday because they've sold some shares and they want to buy some Bitcoin, but they're very new to Bitcoin. So I was saying I would put all of that into Bitcoin, like the whole thing. But
Yep.
my advice to him was, why don't you take 20% and dollar cost average that into Bitcoin, and take another 20% and put that into gold, and then do what you want with the rest of it. And he was like, oh, yeah, that's a good idea to spread it between gold and Bitcoin. And it just made him feel a bit more safe about putting it into
Yeah.
Bitcoin. But what will
Yeah.
happen is, over the next 4 years, Bitcoin will go like that and gold will just slowly creep up a little bit. And he'll think, oh, I should have put it all into Bitcoin, which is what everybody eventually thinks. It's inevitable at some point
Yep.
in time that you look at your Bitcoin stack and it dwarfs everything else. So I think gold will continue, but I don't know anyone our age who's buying gold coins. I mean, I think I'm
Right.
quite unusual to have done that
Yeah.
for our age. And also, like, what the hell? What am I going to do with those coins? They're like
Right.
some, what am I going to do with them? I don't even know how to sell them. What am I going to do? Like, carry
Right.
them into central London where there's just like bare crime happening,
Yeah.
and like in my pocket,
Yeah.
like clinking around some gold coins, and go to like a pawnbroker? I don't know how I'm going to
No,
sell
I
those
know. Yeah.
coins.
Yeah, that's true. Like, yeah, I don't see the next generation buying gold. To be honest with you, I don't see. I mean, it's hard. I don't think Gen Zers are gonna be buying gold. I don't see the
No.
generation after that. I don't know what they're called. I mean, your kids. I don't think
Mm,
they will be buying gold either. It's like they probably are gonna be used to Bitcoin already as a store of value, and they're
yeah.
gonna be able to transact with Bitcoin probably by the time
Yeah.
they're in their 30s and 40s. So it's like,
Yeah.
what's the point of holding something physical that somebody else can just take from you when you have something you that they cannot take from you? I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not against
Gold,
gold.
gold
Like
is,
I do. Oh,
yeah.
go ahead.
I think gold is Bitcoin 1.0. It has a
Yeah.
lot of the properties of Bitcoin, But Bitcoin
Right.
just took that and went to the next level and made it borderless and transferable
Right.
instantaneously. So I think that gradually people will find out, but as the sort of gray hair pound people, the gray hair dollar guys start dying, like, over the next
Yeah.
30 years, I think gold will die with them, and the children will, if they've got gold bars in their safes, children will inherit them and just sell it. They were like, what the
Yeah.
hell am I going to do with this? They just
Yeah.
sell it and just get
Yeah.
fiat and then hopefully understand Bitcoin.
Oh yeah. 100% agree. Yeah. Oh yeah. And I want to. Well, I'm gonna skip a lot of those questions because we're already hitting the hour mark. But anything else that we did not
Okay.
discuss that you think you wanted to share with the audience, my small little audience?
Uh, I think the last question you ask people often is like how
Oh
Bitcoin
yeah,
changed you.
that's
Do you want to like hit on that? Or do you
yeah.
want
How else has it changed you actually? Other than I know you traveled a lot. Like how else? Yeah, how has also your
yeah.
life changed actually?
Well, I think I definitely, when I understood Bitcoin, I started looking at other stuff like on the internet and thinking, some people lie. Some important people lie as well. Yeah. And they often lie on the news as well. Like I only know about two things in my life. I know about Bitcoin and I know about gas and central heating, right? And so I would
Mhm.
see that in the newspapers and the headlines, they would say stuff about how gas is going to be phased out in people's homes in the UK by the year 2025, which is we're here now, right? And that was like when
Yep.
I started
Yep.
being a gas engineer. But then I just very quickly calculated there's 80,000 gas engineers in the UK who can legally work on gas. There's 48 million homes. So who's going to change all those heating systems that work on gas and convert them into electric solar heating systems by 2025? And I did the multiplication and I worked out if all those gas engineers work 7 days a week changing gas boilers into electric boilers, then it would take like 80, I can't remember, like 84 or 89 years working constantly to make that change. So then I would look and think,
Oh,
these guys are lying.
damn.
I've literally made that calculation in 5 minutes. Why are they
Mhm.
making stuff up? The newspapers lie, the media lies. And then
Yep.
the only other thing I know about is Bitcoin. And they print so much trash about Bitcoin that isn't true, that takes 5 minutes to research, that it makes you think, what else are they lying about?
Yep.
Right? And so
Yep.
it's changed me in that way because I've also been to some of those like conspiracy theorists, like very right wing meetup groups in the UK, in Brighton and in London. And I thought I might really get on with those people because they're kind of into like anti the news and anti government and stuff. And I got there and realized I'm actually not like these people. I'm actually not like these people. These are genuine conspiracy theory people, and
Yeah.
I'm actually more into questioning some stuff and thinking, is this true or not? Oh, it is true. Okay, that's fine. That guy seems like a good guy. So I think Bitcoin
Yeah.
changed me into thinking I might be a conspiracy theorist, but then I realized I'm not like those conspiracy theorists. I just don't like it
Right.
when people are lying on the news and trying to mislead people. And I think
Yeah.
understanding Bitcoin and going down those rabbit holes did help me learn about other things, because you then learn about money and you learn about food and you learn about
Yeah.
inflation and you learn about government and through Bitcoin. And I think
Yep.
that's how it's changed me to be a sort
Oh
of
yeah.
thinking person rather than just believing everything that the news tells us.
Exactly. Exactly. It almost made me like, because I found out so much, so much more ever since I learned about Bitcoin. I'm like, now I'm afraid to like learn more truth because I've discovered
Yeah.
so much BS from like things that
Yeah.
should not be BS. Things that like
Yeah.
it's like even the food. Like I know we were texting about the Fiat food, the book Fiat
Yeah.
food actually, and
I love it.
I'm like, dude, there's so many lies out there. I'm afraid to learn more. I'm like, okay, what else?
Yeah.
What else did I not know about? Like, I don't
Uh,
want to be. Yeah, it's frustrating to know them. It almost feels like your
yeah.
whole life has been just nothing but
Yeah.
lies. I'm just now waking up like, oh, okay, so this is fake.
Yeah.
This is fake. This is fake. Like, okay, what else?
Yeah.
What is real? What is real? you know, and then nobody else around you understands that. It's like it's just
Yeah.
you. You feel like people think you're a psycho because you
Yeah.
just don't trust anything anymore. But it's like no, like
That's
I'm right and
yeah.
you are all wrong. It's just
Yeah. But I've lived that for such a long time, and that's why doing this thing and like having this conversation, I've loved talking
yeah,
to you, man, because then you get to talk to other people
yeah,
and you think, hang on, Ralph's not a
Yeah,
crazy conspiracy theorist. It's okay. Like we're
exactly.
just a little bit outside of the mainstream, but that's okay, man. Like,
Yeah, yeah, no, I love that. I know it does feel it feels like therapy to actually talk to somebody that actually understands. Like, okay, we got we on the same page. We understand what's going on, and we're not crazy. We get it, and our life
yeah,
will be okay. You know, let's just get our
yeah,
family on the boat, like we said. Let's get our friends on the boat, and anybody else that wants to join, sure, let's go. Let's go and have a good life. And to the rest of y'all, man, hey, I hope y'all get on the boat sooner rather than later, man. No, I love
yeah.
that. And one last question for you before I let you go. If you had to
Uh-huh.
go back in time and give yourself advice, other than buying more Bitcoin, what would you tell yourself?
Ah. Um, I think I would just not worry about money as much and realize that money doesn't equal happiness
Yeah,
because I'm extremely happy and I'm not particularly wealthy. Um,
yeah,
and when I became a plumber, I started earning more money and we were able to go on holiday or vacation. We call it vacation day. I was able to
yeah,
do that.
yeah,
It did make me happy, but our holidays to Europe were not that different to our holidays on a cold beach in the UK. We still had fun. We're having a great time. Just we spent more money on the foreign holidays. And so I would look back and think, maybe I could have done a few more less expensive holidays and we could have bought more Bitcoin. But
yeah,
it's going back to the thing around never sell your Bitcoin. I think that puts a big focus onto money as the most important thing. And actually, what's been so great about being a plumber and having Bitcoin and the financial freedom that it gives us is that I've been able to spend. I guarantee I will not look back at the last. I've got a 10-year-old son and then two kids younger than that. I know for sure that I spent the maximum amount of time possible with them, considering that I also had a job as well. Like it's
yeah,
not possible for me to have been a more present father. I've done it. I've done as much as I can, and I think my advice to my previous self would have been in the first couple of years of their lives to not worry about money and just spend time with the kids. That would
yeah,
be probably my top advice to other people and to my previous self. Like it
yeah,
doesn't matter where you are, but being together with the kids is the most important thing to me.
yeah. Wow, that was powerful, man. I love that. I love that, man. That's good, man. Where can people find you, man?
Yeah, man, I'm on like Twitter, X, Bitcoin for everyone, spelt a bit funny, like Bitcoin 4, EVR1, because the handle was
Yeah,
gone. Same on Instagram, and then podcast on on Apple, Spotify, all those things. Bitcoin for everyone.
nice. Nice. I will put those links in the description, man. Thanks again for being here, man. I appreciate it, man.
Hey,
I'll see you
thank you,
next
bro. I
time.
loved it.
Of course, man. Of course.